Hi guys. I've been asked by one of our followers to tell how I felt when I found out I was pregnant with Castan, as well as to tell how I felt when I was told his diagnosis. When I first found out that I was pregnant with him, I didn't believe it at first. I took 2 at-home pregnancy tests and they were both positive immediately. Josh did not believe it. He swore up and down that there was no way since I had the marina in. So we went and got a test at the doctor. The test came back positive, but we had to have 4 ultrasounds before we actually saw him and confirmed that he was actually there. They did blood tests and counted my HCG levels, which they were doubling quite quickly, so they knew that there was a baby, we just couldn't find him. My initial reaction, to be honest, I was very upset. I cried, and because I had lost my job, I knew we could not afford another child. My brother had just moved in with us. We became his foster parents, and so initially I was really upset. As he started to grow and we saw him in ultrasounds and found out he was a boy, I started to get excited because we had lost a boy before. So we started planning for him, started buying things because I wouldn't buy anything until I found out. And then after we found out that he was a boy, it was about 4 weeks before I went to my anatomy scan, and they said that there was something wrong with him. So we went to the specialist, and the specialist thought he had Down syndrome, so he encouraged us to have an amnio done. At first I didn't really want to do an amnio because I've heard of the risk of miscarriage and all of the other side effects that an amnio can do. I asked the specialist if we could talk it over to make the decision. He left the room for less than 5 minutes and came back in and asked what our decision was, and I said, well, we really haven't had a chance to talk about it, so if I decided to do it, when would I need to do it? He said, right now. So I went ahead and got the amnio done, and 2 weeks later, he called us, well, his nurse called us to the office, and she wouldn't give me any details over the phone. She just said we needed to come in. So when I went to the office with Josh and Mayanna and Braylee, Mayanna, dork, we sat down, and the doctor asked if the nurse had told anything over the phone, and I said no. She said she couldn't, that we needed to come in. Well, he said, your kid's gonna die. Any questions? Of course, my mouth dropped, and I said, yeah, I have questions. Why? And he said, well, he has triploidy, and it's not compatible with life, and there is no chance he's going to live. If he does not die while he's in utero, he will die shortly after. He said that I was too far along to terminate the pregnancy, even if I wanted to. So I sat there in shock for a few minutes, and I was like, okay. And Josh said, well, can you explain what's wrong with him? And he explained how the two sperms could fertilize one egg, or each of the egg or the sperm having the extra chromosome. And so in my confusion, I said, well, does that mean he was a twin, like twin to twin transfusion or something? And he said, that's an idiotic question. No, it has nothing to do with that. And so I was really upset right then. I didn't know what to ask him, really. He told me that if Castan died inside of me, I would walk around carrying a dead baby. So obviously I was pretty upset. I had already had a son pass away, and I had to deliver him as well. I went home. Before we walked out of the door, he told me, well, since the diagnosis is your son's going to die, there's no reason to follow up with you. You can try to see your midwife if you'd like, but she probably won't want to see you either because it'll be a waste of her time. So, needless to say, I did not like him. I got a second opinion. In the time frame, it took us a couple weeks to get into the other specialist, but in that time frame, I actually begged God that if Castan was going to die, I wanted it to happen sooner so that I wouldn't have to walk around. Okay, just a minute. I wouldn't have to walk around carrying him after. I went and saw Dr. Dix in Springfield. She informed us that Castan was a mosaic, so he had a chance to live. She did say that he was not thriving, so not to be surprised if he was stillborn. But she said that there were some mosaics that lived, so of course I went home. Since the first diagnosis, I researched everything, anything I could find about it on the internet. I was reading it, every story, every bad story, every good story, everything I could find. So that time frame, I was pretty depressed. I stayed in bed a lot. I didn't really function very well.
I'm gonna say Papa's in heaven.
Okay, you can say that in just a minute. And so when my water finally broke at 29 weeks, I didn't at first think it had broke. I was laying on a mattress on our floor because it was the only way my back didn't hurt. And when I laid down, I felt some water, and I told my Anna that I peed my pants. So I got up and cleaned up, came back in the room, laid back down, and somebody texted me, so I reached to grab my phone, and there was a huge gush of water. So I called Josh and left him a voicemail because he was at the gym at the time. And a few minutes later, he called me, and he's like, I just left the gym, I'll be there in a minute. And I said, well, my water broke. He thought I was joking. And I was like, no, I'm very serious. My water broke. So he came home, and he wanted to rush to the hospital. And I was like, no, we don't have, I've had kids before. It takes a while. So we took a little bit. We went to the hospital, and the hospital said they weren't going to induce labor, but they wouldn't stop it because of the risk of infection. Dr. Bruzzini came into the room and told me that because Castan was so tiny, he had a 10% chance of living, because his lungs wouldn't develop anymore because my water broke. And so we went over the options of whether we would want to let him go naturally or fight for him. Josh and I both came to the decision that we would fight as long as Castan fought. If we could see that he was trying, then we were going to do what we wanted. We were going to try to help him, give him air, whatever. But if it was hurting him, we were going to let him go. They did say that if we saw he wasn't going to make it, the kids could come in and say goodbye to him and meet him. Luckily, none of that happened. As everybody knows, he's 6 months old now. I loved every minute of him proving every doctor wrong. It's the greatest thing. Excuse me.
Mom, you okay, Mom?
He's my miracle. And for that, I'm so thankful. And I thank all of you guys for believing in him and my family. I appreciate it very much. I'm fine. Now the kids would like to share their feelings on their brother. You want to start, Mayanna?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, come here.
Okay.
Here's Mayanna. Yeah, look right here. Here's the camera. Now, how did you feel whenever Mommy said that you were going to have a little brother? Were you excited? What did you think? Hello? What did you think? Were you happy?
Mhm.
Did you want a little brother?
Mhm.
What did you think when we found out he might have to go to heaven? Were you sad?
Papa's in heaven.
Papa is in heaven. Do you want to say anything about how you felt about your brother?
Mhm.
What do you think? Do you like him?
Mhm.
Are you gonna say anything?
Yes.
Well, what are you gonna say then?
Mm.
You gotta talk to the camera. Okay, let's let Braylee, because you're not talking. Okay, Braylee, come here.
Hi.
Okay. What did you think when you found out you were gonna have a brother?
I was happy.
Anything else?
I love him and he's
Speak up, they can't hear you.
and he's sweet and he's so cute and I love him lots and he's my little brother.
What are you doing? Stop.
And I
Okay.
love him.
What did you feel when you found out he may not live?
I was nervous.
You were nervous? Can you talk louder?
Yeah. I was nervous.
Louder.
I was nervous.
Is that all?
Really?
What do you think now?
I think it's fun.
You think it's fun?
Yes.
Do you think he's doing good?
Yes.
Okay, anything else?
If you want to see us some other time, you can come.
Speak up.
If you want to see us some other time, you can come.
Okay, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, Shayler?
We're gonna bring Castan.
Alright, you know the drill.
Hi, I'm Shayla, the oldest one. I'm 7, and when I first found out I was going to have another brother, I was so excited because my other brother died because he had stillbirth. And when I found out I was having a new brother, I was so excited that I could just hug him to pieces. And when when I found out when I was younger when my little brother was going to die, that died in my stomach or my mom's stomach. I felt very sad because I've never had a little brother before.
What did
And
you feel about Castan?
when I heard that my brother might die, I was sad that I might never see him again, like I never saw my little brother Odd, and I didn't feel that good. I felt like um, what?
Just go ahead.
Well, I felt like anyone who's out here watching this video, thank you for helping and supporting my little brother.
What do you think about him now?
I think now about my little brother that's 6 months old. I think he's doing a good job gaining his weight, drinking his formula, and doing what he's supposed to, and burping for my mom, and
Is that it?
yeah, that's it, Mom.
That's pretty much all we have right now. Josh is at the gym, so I'll catch him later when he has a few minutes to spare. That is the emotional side of it. You guys have a wonderful night.